Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central. So does anybody else find it was weird that we had a new map last week? Everybody was really excited about Horizon, this map that a lot of people expected that we may see down the line with some of Winston's Law. We finally got it on the PTR, and then since then, it's been kind of quiet on the Horizon. In this video, we wanted to discuss about our opinions of the maps, but also bring up some tweaks and changes that we're going to see on the map fairly soon. But Miska is going to get us started with what's been said.
So there's been quite a lot of talk about Horizon Lunar Colony already. Of course, it's exciting to have a new map, but just the fact that it's a 2 CP map, so a lot of people weren't really expecting that. So initially, the post comments and reactions were mostly about the fact that it's a 2 CP map, but since then it's actually moved on to a lot of other discussion. There's been a decent amount of posts on the Battle.net forums about the map just being flat out unbalanced. And a lot of it is actually backed up by some decent evidence, pointing out actual flaws in the map. Now there might actually be some minor changes made to the map, as Dave Adams, the principal level designer, has actually gone on the Battle.net forums and answered a bunch of questions and just replied to a lot of posts. Posts about the map just being flat out unbalanced, people saying that attackers always win on the Horizon map, and let's actually have a closer look at that in particular. Take this last point here, for example, on Horizon Lunar Colony. This is the last point of the 2 CP map, and whilst a lot of us don't really like the last points of a lot of 2 CP maps like Volskaya Industries and Temple of Anubis, because the defenders have such a short run back to the point, and you don't really have that much of a choice or different angles of approach when attacking, this map is very, very different. If you look at this last point, the defenders essentially just have the whole floor area, whilst the attackers can enter from about 4 different spots. There are a lot of different angles that they can attack from, and it just seems incredibly hard to defend this last point here. The first area is a little bit more similar to a lot of the other areas of the 2 CP maps, but this last one in particular is extremely different. On top of this, Lunar Space Colony is also the map simply because it's indoors that works very differently in the way that you have different walkways and doors that you can get through, but overall you're still indoors. It's not just an open playing field, and it just makes this map feel very different. I'm not quite sure if I like that part of it or not, but the last point at least I want to highlight is designed in a way that is very, very different from the other 2 CP maps. And like I said, whilst some people don't really like some of the earlier 2 CP maps' last points, I'm not sure if this is actually a better alternative.
So we've spoken about attacking on this map. Now let's talk about some of the minor issues that are more related to the defending team. As Miska mentioned, Dave Adams was on the Overwatch forums, replied to a couple of posts, and some of them were actually about parts of the map specifically that the defenders have a tendency of using to their advantage. The first one being this sniper spot right here that Widow or any other hero can check down. And as you can see on screen, from this position, your sightline goes all the way to the attacker spawn, which is still quite a distance away. When it comes to these narrow sightlines on other maps, usually there are things in the way, just twists or corridors that prevent you from being able to see straight down to the spawn, but not here. So when somebody brought it up on the Overwatch forums, Dave Adams reached out and replied to a post pointing this out. We are going to have to fix this sightline. Sometimes things shift a bit when we convert from grey box to final art, or a prop doesn't quite have the same dimensions, and that's why it's a PTR. It probably won't change the whole route though. It is really good to hear devs communicating in these scenarios that there are no misunderstandings, just letting us know why this may be a problem, but also being very clear that there's not going to be any drastic changes to this part of the map, just probably a box or a wall that's been increased a little bit just so you can't see straight down it. Speaking of that, Adams actually responds to another post talking about the first point. This time it was about the tires that are hanging from the ceiling on the first capture point. The problem is that people can camp up there quite often, and they can actually contest or capture the point from up there as well. With the forum post discussing this, Adams replied with this: I'm not actually opposed to being up on the tires, so we can see how that goes, but I will adjust the capture volume just to make sure that people cannot capture or defend from up there and see how that plays. Thanks for the report. I think the start of that has to do with being stood on the tires overall, that a Winston could just sit up there and wait for people to come on the point and then jump on them. But it does look like you won't be able to capture or contest a point from up on the tires above you.
So with all of this, I just wanted to sum up our thoughts, what I think is both good and bad about everything around Horizon Lunar Colony really. And the main thing here is that I just want to emphasize that even though we have this opinion about it, and even though we made this video and presented our thoughts on the topic, I do still think that we all need to just play the map more as well. Overall, I have to say that it's not really my favorite map. I don't really like this map that much. I think there are some issues with it as well, as talked about in this video, but it is also fun to have something new and a bit refreshing interesting to play with. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on all of this as well. We would love to know what you think about Horizon Lunar Colony, as we still have a pretty hard time gauging if people like this map or dislike it overall. It kind of feels like people are a bit indifferent about it, but maybe that's just me. Just put it down in the comment section below and drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it when doing so. But yeah, overall it's an interesting topic to me. I feel like we summed up our thoughts on this fairly well in this video, so I do hope you enjoyed it.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. I am a little bit nervous about a new Capture Point map coming into the game. It's a game mode where not a lot of people find it fun, but I've got my hopes up for Horizon. I'm hoping that it can change my mind and the outlook of the community when it comes to these assault maps. The low grav is a really interesting game mode, which is going to make a lot of fun games in the arcade as well, but we'll see. But that's it for this time. Take care. We'll see you then.